Today we are going to discussing about how to secure AKS and it leads to business success. Hi, uh, I'm Harish Kidambi, Senior Software Engineer in Azure Cloud from Royal Cyber. Here is my teammate, Achyutha.
So, hi, I am Achyutha. I'm working as Junior Software Engineer in Azure Cloud at RC.
So yeah, this is all the topics we are going to cover in agenda. So if you what is Kubernetes? Overview of Kubernetes, Kubernetes architecture, and business benefits of securing AKS, key security challenges in AKS, identity access management, and so on and so forth. A brief introduction about Royal Cyber. We are 20 years of experience and we are 2000 employees, 2000 plus employees in Royal Cyber organization. And also we have 500 plus trusted consultants. Also we have 10 plus offices across continents. Also 600 plus clients across the globe. So these are the major clients. These are all major clients. And also we are covering, like we are working on different sectors. Those are like healthcare, business and finance, manufacturing, and so on and so forth. Yeah, let's talk about Kubernetes. Here is the topic starts. Yeah, what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes, as we know that Kubernetes is an open software, open source system which manage deployments, scaling, management, and containerized applications. So in Kubernetes, we have two features. One is containerization and one is orchestration. When we talk about containerization, containers are less weightage. There is lightweight applications like lightweight packages, which bundles necessary component applications. When we talk about orchestration, it acts as a brain and it manages all the resources in AKS across the clusters. So here is the Kubernetes architecture. Uh, yeah, we have a master node and we have a worker node. So when we talk about the master node in AKS, it is completely take care of it is completely managed by Microsoft. When we talk about worker node, it is actual deployment is happening or actual applications are present in the worker node. So in this, we have a pod and containers. Within the containers, we have an images. So the next we are going to discuss about overview of AKS. So yeah, so Azure Kubernetes Service is a service provided by Microsoft Azure. It helps to run and manage Kubernetes without worrying about the technical details. It handles the complex part of Kubernetes, so you can focus on building and running your apps easily. So in this, no, like let's talk about the importance of security and how security yeah, how security impacts business success. So when we okay, so the business benefits of securing AKS. So when we secure our AKS, we have a lot of benefits, lot of business benefits that leads to business success. One is cost efficiency, and another one is scalability. Reduction of downtime, compliance, regulatory adherence, improved operational efficiency. Next, we are going to discuss about key security challenges in AKS. misconfigurations, setting things up incorrectly. When we setting the things up incorrectly can cause the security risk, right? So insecure the containers is major risk, when like insecuring the container images, which expose the public. Those are very those are more chances to attacking the cyber attacks. And one another one is authorized access and also network vulnerabilities. And then we are discussing about the how the what are the each and every key challenge. We are going to discuss about the solution. So the major thing is unauthorized access. The solution is like key based role based access control, which we can assign the permissions to the users. These are multiple types, multiple levels. We can say we can give the access within the container level, or we can give the access into the group level, or we can give the access into the resource level. Those are the types of resource-based access control. And then we are talking about the authentication. Authentication is more important in AKS. That is to authenticate. How we can authenticate the AKS using Azure Active Directory, which is also called as Microsoft Entra ID, and also least privilege principal implementation, which applies a user pods and service accounts. So this is the architecture of uh, AKS authentication. How we authenticate AKS. So this is the example of assigning the permission to the user. So these are two types. One is we can assign the users through UI, which is Azure portal, and other one is using YAML scripts. So in AKS, mostly we are going to use YAML scripts only. We don't use UI. So yeah, next we are going to talk about the network security in AKS. So to protect your network is a major part in AKS. Network policies to restrict the pod-to-pod communication, and also private cluster deployment, which is very important in network security. When we talk about the private cluster deployment, it will protect you from the internet, from the public access. And then we are talking about the Azure firewalls. Firewalls is also crucial. It plays crucial role in network security, which leads business success. And then we are going to discuss about configure the network policies. These are the example of network policies. And then we are going to discuss about the container security best practices. So the major practice, as we already discussed about the securing the container images, major part, and one more part is least privilege of containers, and also automating security patching, which is updates. For scan, also we are going to discuss about some more container best practices, like scan for vulnerabilities, limit check the containers for security flaws before using them. Use trusted images, when we when we build the image from the Docker Hub, which is must be in private, which could not be exposed to the public. So this is the container security, how we use in AKS. So we have a Azure Container Registry. We are going to store our images into AKS ACR, which is a container registry, and then we'll pull the images to the container instances. Yeah, the major part here it is threat protection and monitoring. Azure Security Center, which helps AKS by looking for security problems, and also Azure Monitor track the health of your app and resources. When we talk about the audit logs, it keeps a record of what happens in the cluster for security checks. Yeah, and then we are going to discuss about compliance and governance in AKS to meet regulation to keep your apps secure. This is, you know, uh, configure Azure policy, enforce the Azure policy, and also logging and auditing, which keeps track of activity of legal and regulatory. Yeah, and then we are going to discuss about how legacy applications transfer to the Kubernetes. What are the needs? What are the benefits of when we choose the Kubernetes? This is the architecture we are going to discuss here. Uh, the monolithic application, which is also called as legacy applications. Here we have a. Let us take an example. We have a site in that site we have multiple pages. If there is any page is going down, entire website is going down, then the user is going to face the downtime and also experience the inconvenience of using that website. So here is the coming to the picture of microservices, which we divide those pages into the microservices. The benefit is when any page or any container goes down, the remaining containers are working fine, and the user won't expect the downtime. And more advanced is Docker. There we're going to build an image in Docker, and then we are going to push the image to the ACR, which is container registry, and after that we are going to deploy that in Kubernetes. Kubernetes part is which maintain the application, also managing the pods and containers. So if there is any pod is going unwanted deletes, it will going to create automatically. It will going to create another pod. These are the application how the monolithic or legacy application to the transfer to the Kubernetes. And remaining topics are going to discuss the Achyutha. Over to you, Achyutha.
Yeah. Uh, Kubernetes service. Kubernetes service is a high quality service, is a one which brings the power of Kubernetes into the cloud. So main purpose of the Kubernetes service is the one which allows the communication between the pods. Here are some of the main features of the Kubernetes service. We have a stable endpoints, scaling support, resilience and failover, simplifies networking, and security and control are the main features. Where it ensures a reliable connection between the microservices, and the load balancer will distribute the traffic to the pods, and it routes the traffic to the healthy pods and reduces the complexity. Next comes to the types of services, Kubernetes services. We have different types of Kubernetes services. One is cluster IP, the other one is node port, and the third one is a load balancer. Cluster IP is a service which is good for internal applications, Basically, cluster IP is a one in the Kubernetes which is created by default. So next comes to the node port. Node port is a one service exposes your application outside of the Kubernetes cluster by opening a specific port on every node in the cluster. And the third one is a load balancer. Load balancer service is a Kubernetes service exposes your application to the internet by provisioning an external IP addresses and the load balancing incoming traffic across your pods. Basically, Kubernetes provisions an Azure load balancer. It creates a public IP and balance the traffic across the backend pods automatically. Next, we have a security features. The security features are service discovery and load balancing, secret configuration management, storage orchestration, self-healing, and automatic rollouts and rollbacks. So here we are going to discuss features of the Kubernetes. So service discovery and load balancing. So service discovery is nothing but Kubernetes automatically assigns the DNS names and the IP addresses to services and pods. So apps can find each other by service names without hard coding the IPs. Next comes to the load balancing. So Kubernetes automatically balances the traffic across multiple pods. So basically a client will send a request to the load balancer, and the load balancer uses the Kubernetes service and it sends a request to the pods. Next feature is storage orchestration. So the Kubernetes automatically provisions and manages the persistent storage for our workloads in the cluster. So AKS here integrates with Azure storage services like Azure disks and Azure files. So the main benefit of the storage orchestration is there's no need to manually create disks. So pods can be created without losing the data based on the workloads. Next feature is secrets and configuration management. So Kubernetes separates the application code from the configuration data. So in the Kubernetes, we manage the sensitive data like passwords and API keys using the secrets. So we store the data. In Azure Key Vaults. The best practices to store the data is by using the Azure Key Vaults, and we can use base 64 encoded as well. Next feature is self-healing. So Kubernetes monitors the health of the pods and automatically reschedules or restarts them if they fail. For example, Kubernetes detects if an app is alive or not. If it is not, Kubernetes restarts the container. And if any of the node fails, Kubernetes reschedules the pods onto the healthy nodes. The next feature is rolling updates and rollbacks. So rolling update. If we deploy an application, we deploy with the new versions of an app with a 0 time. So if there are any changes or if anything goes wrong, automatically it will roll back to the previous versions. So these are the main features of the Kubernetes. And the next topic here is horizontal pod autoscaler. Horizontal pod autoscaler is the one which automatically scales the number of pods in the deployment based on the CPU utilization. So it will just increase the number of the pods depends on the configuration. Here we can see the image of the HPA. So in node 1, before applying HPA, we have a pod 1. And after applying the HPA, it depends on the configuration. When it hits the threshold value, it increases the pods based on the CPU utilization, based on the resource utilization. Next comes to the VPA, which is vertical pod autoscaler. Vertical pod autoscaler is also a autoscaling tool which adjusts the CPU and the memory based on the utilization of the resources. So when to use a VPA is when the application is a stateful application like databases and AI workloads. So we have three kinds of modes in VPA. So off mode, initial mode, and auto mode. Depends on the application. We use modes. We change the modes. It works on the metrics. Like basically, it collects the historical data and the live metrics on the CPU and the memory, and it automatically updates the spot specs. Next, come to the main topic of our Kubernetes. So ingress controller. Ingress controller is one of the main feature of the Kubernetes, where it controls and manages the ingress resources and acts as an entry point for external HTTP and HTTP traffic into the Kubernetes cluster. So mainly it integrates with three of the features called secure external access, SSL or TLS termination, WAF integration. So what the secure and external access is? So ingress controllers like Nginx or Traffic or Istio will manage and route external HTTPS traffic into your AKS cluster. So the key benefit of the secure external access is its centralized routing and improves the security. And then comes to the SSL or TLS termination. What it is? So it decrypts the incoming encrypted traffic before forwarding it to backend services. So the key benefit of SSL and TLS termination is it just simplifies the certificate management and improves the performance of the cluster. And then WAF integration, web application firewall. So it integrates, we can integrate ingress controllers with WAF to inspect incoming traffic for malicious patterns. So it protects our app from common web threats by filtering and monitoring HTTP requests. So the key benefit of WAF is it enhances the security posture for web applications without modifying any application code. Next comes to uses of ingress controller. So we have a simplified traffic management, we have a cost efficiency and the flexibility. Because of ingress controller, we can manage all these applications very efficiently. And then next comes to overall architecture of the ingress controller. So here we can see client A and client B are requesting access to the a public endpoint. So ingress controller, Nginx ingress controller is taking that request and sending the request to the particular ports which are authenticated. So here the admin is a one who has complete access to the cluster, and the user A and the user B will have a very limited access. This is one of the security we can say in the AKS to avoid security breaches. Reasons to adopt the AKS for the business. So here we can say automated provisioning, productivity boost, open source tools, software portability, and IT management, lightweight design, cost optimization. These are the reasons to adopt the Kubernetes for the business. So we can discuss briefly on these points. So automated provisioning is nothing but it simplifies and deploys it simplifies the deployment and management of the Kubernetes clusters. And benefits of the automated provisioning is it reduces the operational overhead. Then comes to the productivity boost. Developer can focus on the building and the deploying applications instead of worrying about the complexity infrastructure. It easily integrates with the CI/CD pipelines and the open source tools. So AKS supports a huge ecosystem of the open source tools like Prometheus, etc. So the software portability. So we can run our applications wherever we need with a minimal changes. And IT efficient management is one of the reasons. So, AKS provides a centralized management of resources through Azure integrations. Features like Azure Policy, Azure Monitor, and role-based access controls. So it simplifies the cluster operations. So another reason is a lightweight. So containers are the lightweight comparatively traditional virtual machines. So it optimizes resource consumption and infrastructure costs. And the last but not least is a cost optimization. We can say AKS offers pay as you go pricing and auto scaling to ensure you only pay for what you use. So these are the reasons we can say to adopt the AKS. Next, come to the process flow of AKS. We can say here the developer is going to develop application and just pushing the code into the Azure DevOps or GitHub. So we can say here we are another security. We can say we are raising the pull requests to apply the changes in our GitHub or the Azure DevOps, and then we are just approving the we are just approving the pull requests. The authorized person will approve the pull requests, and then the images are going to push into the Azure Container Registry. We have another security here, Microsoft Defender, which scans the images, and the other security is Azure Policy, and Azure Kubernetes Service is going to pull the images from the Azure Container Registry. And here we use a Key Vault as a security here to store our secrets. And we are also using network policies in the configuration and OWASP ZAP to scan our application. And also we are also using Azure Monitor and a log analytics to monitor our cluster and to log our events. So this is how the process flow of AKS. Next, this by this we are concluding that we can say AKS is a best tool we can adopt for the business. So here are some key points which can highlight the AKS. So to implement the security. So we are going to implement the robust security and monitoring to ensure AKS workloads are protected and compliant. And we are going to leverage auto scaling and governance for optimal performance and resource efficiency. And we are going to adopt the IAM best practices to control access and maintain the security. So, and then we are going to monitor by using Azure Monitor, and we are going to log the details. So this is how the AKS works.
So this is time for questions.